My name is Tabo. I was born in Lesotho, raised in South Africa, and trained in the occult across Johannesburg, Bulawayo, Gaborone, Windhoek, and Maputo. For 11 years, I served inside a satanic order. I took part in rituals, enforced covenants, and learned the hidden spiritual systems that keep people in financial bondage. Tonight, I am going to expose the financial traps the kingdom of darkness uses to keep Christians poor, struggling, rising and falling, and trapped in endless cycles of work without reward. There are things I saw in the spirit realm that I can never forget. There are things I personally participated in, things I deeply regret. And if you stay with me until the end, you will finally understand why your money disappears, why you rise but never break through, why you get jobs but never see savings, why your family has a long history of poverty, and why some Christians suffer extreme financial battles even though they pray and fast. I will reveal the ancestral financial debts, generational curses, python spirits that swallow wealth, seed eaters that consume harvests, witchcraft manipulation in dreams, demonic financial exchanges, spiritual embargoes and delays, and at the very end, the most dangerous satanic financial weapon, one that even many pastors do not know exists. Before we begin, if you have a strange financial pattern, a recurring dream, a generational story, or a testimony that can help someone else, send it to lifefountain247gmail.com. Your story might save someone's destiny. Let me begin with what I witnessed. In southern Africa, many ancestors entered financial agreements with demons and ancestral gods. They exchanged worship for wealth, loyalty for protection, and rituals for prosperity. The dangerous part is that they pledged their children and grandchildren as collateral. Most people today don't know their ancestors took spiritual loans, but demons always return to collect. I remember a family in Limpopo. Their great-grandfather made a covenant with a water spirit in the Olifants River. That spirit promised him cattle, power, and wealth. But every male descendant had to perform annual river rituals. For 3 generations they obeyed. The 4th generation became Christian and stopped. The same year, their names appeared in our coven under debtors to the underworld. Immediately their businesses collapsed. Sickness struck their breadwinners, cattle died, cars broke down, money dried up, and every male child fell into poverty, not because they sinned, but because their ancestor took spiritual credit and the spirit world came to collect. Another case happened in Bulawayo. A wealthy ancestor joined a secret cult for business protection. The covenant demanded that every firstborn son must serve the altar. When the family in the current generation refused, the spirits demanded compensation. I was assigned to enforce the debt spiritually. Overnight, their salaries disappeared mysteriously. Deaths multiplied in the home. Properties were lost. Contracts collapsed. And accidents drained everything they had. They were paying a debt they never created. Generational poverty is real and spiritual. It repeats the same pattern over and over. No one builds a house. No one sustains wealth. Men rise and fall. Women struggle for years. Debts increase. People work hard but never prosper. I knew a family whose grandfather stole cattle from a chief and used witchcraft to hide the evidence. The witch told him, "Your sons will pay the price through their pockets." From that day, the entire bloodline suffered financial leakage. Even when they earned good salaries, they never enjoyed the money. Every opportunity was blocked. Every open door was shut. It was a judgment from a crime committed long before they were born. Another man's great-grandfather murdered someone on ancestral land. The land cried for justice, and a curse settled on the lineage. The men became drunkards, the women remained single mothers, and the youth dropped out of school. Everyone lived from hand to mouth. The curse rested until one surviving son surrendered to Christ, prayed with violence, and broke the chain. Then there is the python spirit, one of the most vicious wealth-swallowing spirits in southern Africa. Job 20:15 says, "He has swallowed riches, and he shall vomit them up again." These spirits operate near rivers, mountains, and forests. Their assignment is simple: swallow wealth, swallow opportunities, swallow destinies. I once saw a young man in KwaZulu, Natal, who always dreamed of a python coiled in his bedroom. Every time he dreamed of that snake, his salary vanished in a week. Unexpected bills swallowed his money. Companies rejected him. Opportunities disappeared. In the spirit realm, the python literally sat on his finances. Through rituals, we empowered that python to block anything good coming towards him. A woman I encountered had recurring dreams of a python. Her grandmother had dedicated all female children to a python deity for protection. But instead of protection, it swallowed her marriage, her money, her job, her pregnancies, and her destiny. Nothing in her life ever stayed. Witchcraft also uses monitoring spirits, spiritual watchers assigned to track your progress. A man kept dreaming of an old woman staring at him. Whenever promotion was near, we sent confusion. Whenever he got a contract, we created conflict. Whenever he applied for tenders, we made him miss deadlines. He wasn't unlucky, he was monitored. A young woman used to see a black shadow in her room the night before payday. That shadow was a witch from her extended family. She would spiritually count the young woman's salary before she received it and then redirect the money into problems. Her salary arrived in the physical world already drained in the spiritual world. One of the darkest secrets is demonic financial exchange. Witches exchange destinies, your blessings for their own comfort, your customers for their business, your promotion for their rise. This is why some people work hard, yet someone else enjoys the result. A successful businessman suddenly lost all his customers. His competitor performed an exchange ritual using a stolen business document. In the spirit, their financial stars were swapped. Overnight, the man's success was transferred to another person. There was also a family where the aunt exchanged the financial glory of her niece. The niece worked tirelessly but stayed broke. Meanwhile, the aunt, who barely worked, lived comfortably. Spiritual exchanges happen far more than people realize. I also witnessed satanic embargoes and delays, invisible barriers placed on people's finances. A man applied for a work permit. Demons delayed it for 2 years. By the time it was approved, the job was gone. His miracle expired because of delay. A woman in Maputo lived a life of almost. She almost got the house, almost got the job, almost got married, almost succeeded, but never crossed the final line. A spiritual embargo had been placed on her star. Nothing was allowed to pass through. But the most dangerous satanic financial weapon is something very few pastors know about. A bloodline financial vow. This is when an ancestor makes a spiritual promise that no one in the family must rise beyond a certain level. This vow becomes a sealing in the spirit. Whenever someone rises above that level, the vow pulls them down. It appears as sudden downfall, blocked promotion, unexplained limitations, and mysterious rise and fall cycles. Until this vow is broken by the blood of Jesus, the entire family remains trapped under financial limitation. If this confession has opened your eyes, share it with someone who needs deliverance. And if you have a strange financial pattern, a generational story, or a spiritual experience, send your testimony in comments. Your story may save someone else's life.